like two cats on the front lawn. Dear Jesus, when are those two going to stop? Annette sped through the kitchen and called over her shoulder. Call their mothers. I'll turn on the hose. 1990. My name is Faith. Stop calling me Chub. She resented the childhood nickname, and Rachel used it liberally. With hormones racing and pimples flaring, Faith was a ball of fire and needed to vent some of her teenage fury. She knew exactly where to go to find a fight. That was why she chose the picnic table in the park where Rachel hung out with her friends. Well, how about this? Faith, get your big ass off my table and find some other place to smell up. Stop it, Faith said when Denny gathered her books and started stuffing them into her bag. We have as much right to be here as anyone else. She doesn't own this park. Faith looked up at Rachel. You honestly think those braces are going to make you stop looking like a woodchuck? Tell me, how many logs do you have to chew to make a hutch big enough to fit your ass? Rachel's face darkened. Her books hit the table with a thud. You really want this, Chub? Or is it just an excuse to touch another girl? Those rumors going around school must be true. Faith's nostrils flared as she stood. She wanted to glare at Denny, but couldn't afford to take her eyes off of Rachel for a second. She confided in what she thought was her best friend about her lack of interest in boys. Denny had let her down big time. Faith was livid, and Rachel was about to bear the brunt of her anger. How could you possibly think I'd want you? She sneered. Why would I pick the ugliest girl in the whole school? Rachel's response was a bitch slap that nearly spun Faith's head around. Denny grabbed her book sack and ran. Some things just never seemed to change. For some, life in Michoud, Louisiana was an idyllic place where doors were seldom locked. Children young and old fished at the bayous that ran throughout the town nestled in the Atchafalaya Basin. In the spring, there were crawfish boils, in the summer, barbecues, and in the fall, football parties. Deals were made with a word and a handshake. Disputes were settled with a dotted I. Sometimes, too. For the most part, residents of Michoud were generations of families. It was a peaceful place where a sense of community and a helping hand was always offered when needed. But every ideal does have a few wrinkles. There were two small ones, and Michoud wasn't big enough to put space between them. Rachel Chauvin and Faith Leblanc grew right along with their quaint town, where change occurred very slowly. Chapter 1. Where are you going with that? Rachel asked as her 6-year-old daughter tried to hide a bag of cookies behind her back. Casey's eyes moved back and forth as she contemplated an answer, but the best she could come up with was outside. She reluctantly surrendered the cookies when Rachel held out her hand. We were gonna have a picnic at the park. Rachel stared at a line of bulges beneath Casey's shirt and knelt down eye level with her daughter. What's under here? She asked as she lifted the hem. There were 4 juice boxes tucked into the waistband of her shorts. Rachel bit back a smile. Dinner's in an hour. You can take 2 juices and 2 apples, and that's it. Okay. Casey surrendered 2 juice boxes and walked over to the fruit bowl on the table, where she grabbed a couple of apples. What are you hiding in the back of your shorts? Oh, I forgot about those. Casey reached behind her and set a pack of crackers on the table. Oh, little girl, you'd better run to that park before I do a full-on inspection. Rachel smiled as Casey tore out the back door. She picked up the opened package, damp with sweat, and said, Crackers in your crack, as she tossed it into the trash. She put the juice boxes back into the fridge and looked out the window above the kitchen sink. She could clearly see Casey and a friend she didn't recognize, sitting at the same picnic table that she claimed as her own as a kid. Both were gnawing away on the apples and waving their hands around.